Hello there, this is Rom coming back at you with yet another car video. Yeah, this is a little late, but I got a life, y'all. I got a life. Had some stuff I had to do this morning. Anyway, just as well as it's important to be physically attractive, you have to have an attractive personality as well. Because I'm going to tell you what, there's always some big talk about being physically attractive. Hell, I be talking about body game. And that's good. That's the bait. That gets them over there. But what do I always say? Women will say he was all right until he opened his mouth. Until he opened his mouth. And that's very important right there. This is a little bit different from where I'm pulling out from normally, so I gotta look out a little bit, be paying attention, checking my mirror. Yeah. Be checking my mirror for a little bit. Got quite a few cars coming through this joint. All right, there's somebody coming through here. Anyway, I'm going to tell you what. Wait a minute. Let me straighten this up a little bit. Straighten my back mirror up. You know how it is with this particular car. Anyway, I'm going to tell you what. Yeah, it's great that you looking good physically. And I'm always going to do that. But that's just the bait. Because remember, there are really 4 pillars to game, to what you got to do with the women. It's the environment you in. It's your bait, or some people might call it a trap. It's your conversation, and then it's actually having sex with them. And let's just talk about your conversation, because really, that's where a lot of guys lose out. They might look good to a woman, and she like, damn, he fine. And they'll go over there, but that'll be it. Only time when your conversation don't matter is if you at a party or some kind of thing where you and the woman can get together quickly. Where, y'all getting together in a bathroom or something. Wait, let me say it properly. Bathroom, right? Anyway. Yeah, that's about the only place. But other than that, that gets them over there, but you still got to talk to them. And if you got a jacked up personality, or you don't know how to have a good conversation, and you not clicking with the woman, she don't want to deal with you no matter how good you look. She ain't going to go for it. And anybody who says otherwise, I guarantee they don't know. Because you got a bunch of guys who, they'll actually say they've been told they were attractive, but then they having trouble clicking with the women otherwise. You still got to click with the women, no matter what. You still got to be able to have a conversation with them, no matter what. Shoot, even in situations where it might be at some party or something, y'all both drunk. Even in those situations, you still might have to talk a little bit. But trust me, most of the other times, no matter how good you look, that get them over there. But like I said, women will say he looked good till he's opened his mouth. And in fact, I did a popular video last week. Where women will look for flaws in a handsome man. So even if you handsome, but you like blah, 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 man, a woman, she'll jump all over that. I'll share that video in the description box for y'all. Because shoot, a lot of guys are getting into that when I was like, oh, snap. Because, well, let me just say, it's stupid to think these women aren't talking. It's stupid. I mean, like I said, if you at maybe a party and y'all both like nice and inebriated, you might be able to get something quick. All right, if you're going to live that. But let's just be real. Let's just be honest. Most of us ain't going to be in that situation. Most of y'all ain't gonna be in that situation. And let's just be real too. Most men aren't that handsome. Because that's another thing too. Because if you have that attractive personality, you can have that conversation with a woman. She might be like, she might want to give you a little bit more of a chance. She might be like, oh, well, he alright. You know, like if a man fixes up to the best, he ain't no fashion model. He ain't no child. Or, even with body game, he ain't super cut or super muscular. Or he ain't got that height. Oh, he got to have that conversation. And he got to be able to talk with that woman. See, one of the scariest things to me is you got guys out here, they can't even talk to a woman. And I'm going to tell you what, to me, that's scary as fuck. Yeah, I had to run that light. That's scary as fuck because you got to talk. In most cases, you got to talk. Oh, a bunch of horses, a whole lot of horses. Anyway, like I said, coming a different way. Y'all don't need to know what I was doing or where I'm coming from. But that's the thing you gotta understand when you in this thing of ours called game. It'd be great if it was just looks, and you get a lot of guys thinking it's just looks. That's just the bait, and that's good if you approaching a woman on the street looking your best. But you still, even when you approach a woman, I don't care what you look like, you still gotta have that conversation. You still gotta talk to her. She still gotta feel something. See, women aren't going to go on just looks. See, a man, our nature is, as long as that woman got a nice body, we probably don't care. In fact, we probably want her to shut the fuck up. We probably don't want to talk about anything. Women ain't the same way. At a minimum, you have to look like somebody they can deal with. At a minimum, you have to connect with them conversation-wise. They love to talk. Any man who hasn't found that or saw that, and even some men who want to because, I've talked about this before, you get some smart asses say, oh, they ain't talking about anything. Ain't dealt with some women. Shoot. In fact, talking with some women, even if you just good at listening to whatever they're saying, that might be good for you. That might be good for you. Let me pull in by here. Had to think about which way I was going to go. Because I don't feel like talking that much. It's a little bit later in the day. Let me turn right here. Do my thing. But you got to understand, you got to have that attractive personality. Because if you talking all jacked up or whatever, and the women ain't going for it. In fact, I would say this. On that first conversation, two things, in most cases, you don't want to talk about. In most cases. You don't want to talk politics and you don't want to talk religion. In most cases. Reason why I say most cases, if you meet somebody and they start talking about politics or religion and you got something to say or y'all the same thing, okay, fine, or if you meet them at those type of events. But most of the time, just keep that shit light, fun, and just talk. Just talk. Just have that conversation. You don't have to get too deep with it. And, a lot of guys will say they ain't good at it. But then, what do I always say? Practice saying hi to 3 different women a day. And I'm going to tell you what, don't look at it in terms of you trying to get with those women. Because I've had a couple commenters say, well, yeah, they were trying to get with those. No, you want to get to the point where it's a natural for you. You don't have to stroke every single woman. You don't have to try to go for them. In fact, talk to different women. You want to just build that muscle. Because you got to talk to them. I don't give a shit how good your ass look. How good your ass look. Unless you like in the top 1% as far as your looks. And that's all you do is go to parties. But let's be real, a lot of y'all ain't going to parties anyway. The average man has to meet a woman in his social circle or maybe approach women on the street. Most men ain't doing that either. But I'm just saying, out in public, in most cases, you got to approach them when they sober, when they paying attention to stuff. In fact, I would recommend that's what you do, because messing with a woman while she inebriated or something, that could be another problem. That could lead to the po-po, or for those who don't recognize slang, the police come into your place, knocking on the door. So you still want them as sober as possible, but if they sober, what are you talking to them about? What are you talking to them? And you have to develop that. And, I know some dudes got some anxiety, but my thing is, for what? The women do not bite unless you want them to. And even if they tell you no, or they don't want to talk with you, in most cases, they'll be polite about it. But in most cases, they actually doing you a favor. But you still want to get used to that point. You still want to just talk with them. You want to get them. You want to engage them. I remember when I was working on one of my 1,000 jobs, I was working at this department store. And I think there was some type of pickup artist layer nearby, because everybody kept trying to talk to this one woman. I was like, damn. It was like the same woman. Everybody's trying to talk to her. And she was all right. I mean, in my view, she was cool. She wasn't no 8 to 10. But all these guys kept trying to talk to her, and I was just like, it ain't even worth all of that. But they could have just had that conversation, that tried to go further with it, right? Whenever you out and about, just talk. And then even what you going to talk about, what you got going on in your life? Seriously, what's interesting about you? Because I'm going to tell you what, sometimes if you fix up enough, but you interested, you got something to talk about, even when they do all their talking, they still, a lot of women still want to know what's up with you. What you into? What you doing? What you good at doing? And that woman, you might be so excited about it. Boom. There's been times I've talked with some women, and they had zero personal interest in what I was doing, but they felt like I had so much passion behind it, so much knowledge of it, they would listen anyway. But I could talk. See, that's one thing I always say. Even way before Body Game, I could always talk to a lady. Never had approach anxiety. Have no idea about it. Now, have I been rejected? Hell yeah. One of my favorites, though, there was a woman, this was way back when I was still in high school. I walked up to this young lady, gave her my phone number, and walked past. She actually caught up with me and said, hold up. You hold up. You got to do better than that. She actually sat me down, gave me some game. Look, here's the thing still. Whatever the case, you still got to have something going on with yourself. You still got to have something to talk about. I don't care how much you fix yourself up, how much you let the barber bless you, how often you in the gym, what kind of clothes you got. And even for those Bammers who think it's all about money, you could be driving that fancy car and you could be flashing your money or even trying to talk about it. First of all, if a woman dealing with you just because you driving a nice car or something, she's trying to play. Trust me. Just assume that. If she more concerned about your material goods than who you are, that's an indication she trying to play. All right? I wouldn't even take them seriously. In fact, you don't take them seriously. Yeah. This car would be driving slow. I'd be driving a lot faster along here. But that's the thing, though. You still gotta have that personality. You know, and it's funny. I remember when I first saw that whole thing about looks, money, and status. I'm like, okay, but where's personality in there? Because there's some dudes who got all of that and still had trouble with women. Meanwhile, some dude who got none of those things but can have a conversation with a woman is getting some. Now, some people who are into the pimping side of it, they'll call it a mouthpiece. And you know what's funny? There was a comment on one time trying to say, ain't no such thing as a mouthpiece. I was like, he don't be getting that. Because that conversation, because I knew this one player, and there was a woman he was talking with, and this is something I've done a lot of times, but I'll use another example. This woman he was talking with, she was ready to go to the motel, and they didn't even bring up sex. But that's how, I'm gonna tell you what, that's how powerful a conversation is. If a woman feel that connection with you, you could probably do further. Because first of all, you still want to fix up physically. That's the bait. You want to get them over there. They need to like what they look like, what you look like. Shit, they definitely like what they look like. But you need to like what you look like. You need to have that good presentation. Like if you fixing it up, you might not be supermodel of the world, male supermodel of the world. You don't need to be. As long as you got a good presentation that she likes, whatever she likes. Not what another man like either. Not none of that faggy shit. But what she likes, what a woman will like, you good there. But that just get them over there. You still got to talk to them. Then you have a good conversation. You have fun. You laughing and all of that. Boom. See, like I said earlier, and I will keep saying, anybody think it's just looks. I'm like, you ain't dealt with some women. The most that do is get them over there. That'll stop them. Like if you approach a woman on the street, you look good. Oh, she'll stop. She gonna say, oh, okay. Let me see what he talking about. Even on that show, what I call the gift that keep on giving, the balloon pop show. There's many a time a woman will pop the balloon after she heard the man talk. And they'll say, yo, yeah, you look good, but I want to see what you're saying. And it could be anything. And incidentally, it don't mean you're going to get every woman. Because it's not even just what you saying, but what she talking about too. You might not like something she's saying. So don't be thinking it got to be some perfect thing. Like, that's one thing very important. Because you got too many guys out here thinking it's some magic and shit. I wish it was. I wish it was. If I was doing these car videos, I'd be talking about something totally different. Be promoting like my science fiction book or something. Be talking some politics. Oh. If I ever need money, I start that political channel. And I know some people do, but we ain't gonna get into that. But that relationship thing, I mean, really, it's, I don't know, I just got a sign from Spirit, maybe, I don't know. Might talk about politics at one point. I don't know. But anyway, you just gotta really understand really what you going to do, what you going to talk about. And one thing with conversations, they flow. You can't go in thinking, well, I'm going to talk about this, and this. You don't know. It can flow. Like a common thing people will talk about, they be like, man, this weather out here is crazy. But that's just an opening. Or it could be something y'all see. I could be at the grocery store talking about avocados. I remember I was at one grocery store, had a long conversation with this woman, and we were just looking at like natural soaps, which I happen to like. I happen to like natural soaps. So me and her were just talking about that. It could be whatever. See, and really, the only way to get in the habit of really talking, just talk to women. Just talk to them. Even if you in that quote-unquote friend zone. Use the women that put you in the friend zone. Okay. They ain't giving you no poo. Use them to learn how to talk to women. Have them serve a purpose. Shit. And like I said, don't be scared to talk to a woman. They don't bite unless you want them to. Yeah, they don't bite. No, some of them do. Whatever the case, they ain't gonna kill you. Yeah, it's still breathing. Ooh. Anyway. Yeah, I'm just stopping here. I ain't really even going to the gym. I just don't need y'all up in my shit. Anyway, though. Yeah, but you gotta have that personality. You gotta be attractive to them, all right? So anyway, that's all I got for today. I'll get back with y'all. Peace.